Hello and welcome aboard to this episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. This is a podcast dedicated to following the entire story of One Piece from beginning to end as we focus on one volume each episode. We keep the discussion spoiler-free for new fans of the series, so this is a perfect place to follow along whether you're new to the series or just want to revisit the world of One Piece with us. This week we will be covering volume 24, People's Dreams, which covers chapters 217 through 226. My name is Joel and I'll be your host. Joining me today we have Evan.
Hello, Evan here.
Yeah, so it's pretty exciting. We're moving on past Alabasta. We just have like one chapter kind of wrap up some loose ends for Alabasta. Well, I guess like 1.5. We'll wrap up a little bit of Alabasta and then we can move on to next chapter. I do want to ask, did you happen to see the teaser trailer for the One Piece live action Netflix series?
I did.
You did? You watched it?
I did. I saw the trailer. It looks good.
Yeah.
I think the casting looks pretty solid.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, that's like one thing. Like looking at the the cast, like I saw some like the other people announced as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm very hopeful for it. I'm very excited, especially now seeing the live action trailer. Like I don't watch trailers, but this is one I was like I have to at least check it out a little bit. I want to get an idea of like
Definitely.
just like a little taste of like what they're offering, and so far I'm really excited. I'm liking what I'm seeing.
Same. I think visually I'm excited.
Yeah,
because it's hard. It's hard to imagine what these characters would look like in real life, and so I was very curious to see how they'd be casted. And after seeing the choices they made, I was like, yeah, I think those all make sense to me. Like those all look good.
Yeah,
like good choices. So I'm excited about that.
Yeah, especially like for a series with like such outlandish designs for characters, like
right
to translate to the screen. That's going to obviously not be 1-to-1. So it's going to be an adaptation. You can't expect it to be like exactly the same exact thing, but that's a good thing because it's supposed to be like live action, so it's not gonna like they're gonna have to like CGI everything. So it's good that there's gonna be a level of groundedness to it as well.
Yeah, I hope they have a big CGI budget.
Yeah, I heard that they have a really big budget for the show, so hopefully it pays off.
That's good. That's exciting.
Yeah, and I was also surprised to hear this is going to be coming out at the end of August.
Yeah, so soon.
I was totally expecting it to be like
stuff.
November, December, like at the end of the year.
Mm-hmm.
But like, nope, it's going to be like 2 months. So
very exciting.
Yeah. All right. Well, hopefully when we get there, we can maybe talk about that more once we have something to actually watch.
Definitely.
For right now, this is about the manga, so we're gonna shift gears back to the actual topic of the episode. But it's too exciting not to talk about. So, all right. So, just to give a little overview of where we left off with the last volume, the Straw Hats and Vivi managed to stop the bomb from exploding in the town square, but to their surprise, Crocodile had the bomb set in a timer in case the fuse was destroyed. Pell managed to fly the bomb high enough so it exploded in the air, saving the citizens of Alabasta, though seemingly at the cost of Pell's life. Luffy and Crocodile continued to brawl it out, but Luffy was able to persevere and won by launching Crocodile through the roof of the mausoleum. The first time in 3 years, it began to rain, as Smoker was able to commandeer the ship Brokeworks fuse to abuse the dance powder. The fighting ceased, and Igaram, who survived the explosion at Whiskey Peak, arrives with Kappa. Kappa explains that he witnessed Mr. 2 impersonating King Cobra, who was innocent of the crimes he was framed for. Cobra announced that it's time for Alabasta to move past this tragedy. The Nefertari family hosted a feast for the Straw Hats back at the palace. The Navy was closing in on the Straw Hats, so pirates decided to make their leave before it was too late. They invited Vivi to join their crew. They said to meet them at the port the next day at noon when she had made her decision. Mr. 2 called them on the transponder just now, informing them that he has been protecting the Mary from the Navy. As the pirates became barricaded by the Navy ships, Mr. 2 was moved when he finds out the Straw Hats refused to leave without picking up Vivi. He sacrificed himself by acting as a decoy while the Straw Hats escaped. The Straw Hats arrived at the shore, where they agreed to meet Vivi, but she announced that she has decided to stay behind in Alabasta to help rebuild the country. The eyes of the Navy on the Straw Hats, they bid a silent farewell by raising their arms in the air, bearing the X mark that symbolizes their friendship as they ship off to their next adventure. Yes, I try to keep the recaps a little brief, but there was just so much to talk about in the last last vibe. I wanted to try to get some of those details in there.
Yeah, conclusion to an epic arc. So
yeah. Okay, so let's get the next part of the cover story. Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 31. Save the Catfish Village. Exchange the treasure for cooking equipment. Hachi rushes back to the Catfish Village, now with the equipment to cook for the starving villagers.
What a hero. We thought he was running away.
Mm-hmm.
We thought he was running away, but no.
Nah, he was actually doing the right thing. It was like he saw this as his opportunity to not only help out the citizens, but to also fulfill his dream. So he's going to go help the villagers by making something to eat.
Good on you.
So yeah, that's good because yeah, we liked Hachi, so it's good that he wasn't being so selfish here.
Has there really been 31 parts
There
of this
has.
story? Wow. That's wild.
Yeah, they add up.
I've been with Hachi for a while now.
Yeah. All right, so moving on to chapter 217, Stowaway. The citizens of Albast are eager to rebuild while Chakra mourns the loss of his friend, and BB watches the merry sail off in the distance. Meanwhile, a patient leaves a medical facility, though his familiar headband was left behind. Off at sea, Smoker and Tashigi recuperate as they discuss the increased bounty for Luffy and how Zoro has also managed to get a bounty on his head now. The Strats are glum that they had to leave Vivi behind, but to their surprise, they have one extra person present on the ship. Nico Robin reveals herself, seeming to have made herself at home. She accuses Luffy of causing her a great deal of suffering, declaring she is now his responsibility. To the entire crew's shock, she says she wants to join their crew. Okay, so we have to start out by addressing Nico Robin. Did you see this coming?
No, I did not see her being like a stowaway on the ship. I did see them potentially like reuniting and becoming allies.
Okay.
But I wasn't expecting her sudden appearance on the ship, which was quite funny.
So, did you expect her to be a member of the Straw Hats?
No, I did not.
Okay. Yeah, this is one of the secrets I've been like really hoping that you wouldn't find out about, because I think it's such a great reveal and such a twist. Because yeah, I wasn't sure if like how much exposure you've had, if you've seen anything, or anything. So I was trying to be very careful with the way that Sean and I were talking about the chapters, not to kind of give this away, because we knew that this is going to happen. But I think this is interesting because we expected Vivi to join the crew.
Right.
So we got a twist here. It's somebody else that joins the crew. Somebody does join the crew, but not the one we expected the entire arc.
Yeah, definitely an unexpected twist. I would have loved to see Vivi join the crew, obviously. But yeah, I think Nico Robin is a cool character and has been like that mysterious character that I feel like I've personally liked and thought she was incredibly powerful. And like we were kind of saying in the last volume, like didn't really know what side she was or whose like loyalty she was playing to. So yeah, I'm excited. I think her intro is perfect too. Like she's just so cool and suave. She just kind of like appears and is very casual and just like, yeah, I want to join your crew. Very casually. And everyone's like freaking out.
Yeah. So she was a villain up to this point. So
right.
We're gonna see the crew's reaction the next chapter. But yeah, this is like the first time where we have somebody who was pretty much a straight up villain in the previous arc who's now trying to become like a member of their crew.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes.
Also, there's another I think moment in this chapter. This one's kind of controversial. What did you think of the reveal that Pell was actually alive?
I'm excited because I love Pell, but I don't know. I was also very content with that plot point. Like I think Oda, and I feel like he's done this a lot in this series, is like faked people's being dead and then they turn out not to be dead.
Yeah.
Which we saw like all through the last arc. Honestly, it feels like with like Iram and Koza, like everyone's, we feel like all these characters have died and then it's revealed that they're not dead.
Usopp,
and it's
Aaron Clark.
It's starting, well, I don't know. It's just starting to feel like almost like The Boy Who Cried Wolf, where it's just like I'm no longer gonna think anyone's dead
Yeah.
because everyone just comes back. You
It's
know?
like almost like a running gag that nobody dies in One Piece unless you're like in a
Yeah,
flashback or something.
for real. Yeah, you don't actually see it happen on page though,
Yeah.
like an actual death. Um, which is fun. I mean, it's I love all these characters, so I'm not complaining, but it does seem kind of like it's kind of becoming an old trick. It feels like,
Yeah, and I kind of feel like in this case here, I think a very valid criticism is it kind of cheapens Pell's sacrifice
Yeah,
because we have like this build up. It's like a very emotional moment, and like we saw like the flashbacks of like Pell's like story with Vivi as a child, and and like how quiet all the panels were. There wasn't a lot of dialogue where Pell picked up the bomb and exploded. And it seems like he wouldn't be able to survive a bomb explosion that large. So it's kind of like
yeah, no way.
ambiguous how he would have survived that. But overall, like you said, I like Pell as a character as well, so I'm not going to complain too much about it. But from a storytelling perspective, it does kind of feel like Oda was afraid to commit here. Um, it's like Pell isn't like a major character in the series, or at least not that I'm aware of. But
Mhm.
it kind of doesn't make sense in the way to save Pell unless he had like some like larger purpose in the story that like will be fulfilled later on. But like as far as we know, like Pell's like story has kind of been told at this point for like all intents and
Gotcha.
purposes. So yeah, so in a way, like this is something that I think people will criticize, and it kind of like you said at a point where it feels like the trope is starting to get like reused a little too much.
Mhm.
Um, but it is what it is, and like I said, I don't mind that much because I do like Pell as a character. It's fine. Um, but yeah, it's just a questionable choice to have him be to not have him be killed off here.
Yeah, yeah, I agree, but also not mad.
Yeah. At the very beginning of the chapter, we get the reveal of Hina's devil fruit.
Yes, a very convenient devil fruit for being a Navy officer,
Yeah, we have to
right?
capture.
Like the perfect one.
You have to capture these pirates in the quickly. Like when you're in a bind, you can rely on the bind fruit.
Yeah, it seems like a good one. So it's like when her body passes, she can like use her body to create an iron bond
Yeah,
or steel. Yeah, that's pretty cool.
yeah, which is interesting
And
because
yeah,
like
that must come
when
in handy.
like the way it's presented is like actually really cool because like the first panel is like we see her arm normal, but then when we see the pirate like trying to go through her arm, like her arm starts to bend like in a weird way, and
Yeah,
then it kind of goes through, so like it like separates like the binding separates from her arm, and it creates like a binding around the guy. So it's like very weird the way like it kind of happens, but yeah, it essentially creates like an extension of herself that becomes like a binding that goes around the person.
yeah, that's pretty neat. Like it looks like she probably doesn't have a lot of reach with it, but
Yeah, it's probably limited to like her body, so maybe like
it's like limited
the
to
arms or legs,
her
maybe.
arm length. Yeah, maybe legs. But yeah, that's got to be a real convenient one for Navy officer. She must use that all the time.
Yeah, and we just get some nice scenes with Alabasta. You see like Toto again, kind of happy the rain's back, and like his faith has kind of paid off here.
Yeah, I definitely enjoyed the falling action here, just kind of like wrapping up Alabasta.
Yeah, and just a quick little check in with Smoker and Tachigi. Seems like they're kind of like okay with what's happened here.
Hmm.
They realize that their own shortcomings, and they kind of know where they have to like work on themselves now. But it seems like maybe for right now they're gonna let the Straw Hats kind of do their thing.
Yeah, I'm very curious to see how Smoker and Tashigi's like character development continues and like how their plot intertwines with the Straw Hats because like they're obviously like intrinsically entwined, but they've almost been more allies than enemies so far.
Yeah,
Like at a base level, they're enemies, but in their interactions, they've acted more as allies. I feel like than as enemies, like working
yeah, both
together in moments.
yeah, both on like separate occasions, both Smoker and Tashigi have kind of been like saved by the Straw Hats and like Luffy
All
in
right.
particular. So it's like they kind of like feel like a debt to them, but I think now they're at a point where it's like, all right, we're even now. So next time we see you, like, it's fair
we mean
game.
business. Yeah.
But we also get the updated bounty posters. Yeah, so this is also important to note too, because Luffy has an increased bounty.
Yep.
So just put a pin in that for right now.
Yep.
Any other thoughts before we move on?
No, I love how Nico Robin just like walks out of the cabin and like pops up a chair and just like casually sits on the deck and just like, what's up?
Yeah, it's very nonchalant.
Nothing weird here. Nothing to see. Just your average villain walking around.
Yeah, I love like Nami's like reactions, like, how long have you been on board? And then Nico Robin's like, oh, a while. I was just below reading. I took a shower. Oh yeah, I borrowed your clothes. That's all right. Yeah.
She is pretty cool.
Luffy seems very confused as to what he did to Nico Robin, because
oh right, when you get that,
she's accusing him, and Sanji's like, what did you do to this beautiful woman?
Yeah, Sanji is swooning immediately.
Yeah.
Everyone's like freaking out, and Sanji's like, what a babe.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to the next part of the cover story. Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 32, the sudden grand opening of the legendary octopus fritter shop. Hachi is happy to be living his dream of having an octopus fritter shop as he serves a catfish with the help of Kami and Papagu. All right, so this is coming to fruition. Hachi is putting the octopus fritter recipe to good use. He's always wanted to have a stand of his own, and now he can put it into action.
I wish him all the best. I've grown to like Hachi's character.
Yeah.
He's done some questionable things, but I think overall has been a likable character.
His heart's in the right place.
Yeah.
He seems to be getting along with Kami and Papagu, so helping out.
They've made peace.
Chapter 218, Why the Log Post is Dome-Shaped. Back in Alabasta, as the mausoleum was collapsing following Crocodile's defeat, Nico Robin passes to Cobra the antidote that will cure Luffy's poison. He confronts Robin, asking why she lied about what the poneglyph said. He told her that he knew it did not have the recorded history of Alabasta, and it surely did contain the information about the weapon Pluton. She explains she has no concerns about kingdoms or people's lives, but she also had no intention of helping Crocodile. She was hoping to find the real poneglyph, which recounts the true history of the world. Cobra asks her to elaborate, but she tells him it doesn't matter. This is all she had to live for, so she might as well die here. Luffy has now recovered and is not interested in letting Robin die or the conversation they were having, so he carries him out of the collapsing crypt. Now in the present, Robin tells Luffy that he owes her for saving her life when she wanted to be left to die. She has nowhere else to turn to, so she insists on joining the crew. Before the rest of the crew can protest, Luffy accepts, recognizing that she's not a bad person. She goes on to tell the crew that she came from a family of archaeologists, studying since she was 8 years old. She had a bounty put on her head and has been on the run from the world government for the past 20 years. As a child, she could not survive on her own, so she made a living by joining various pirate crews over the years. Usopp points out that she seems awfully confident, asking what's her specialty. Her reply, assassination. To lighten the tone, she uses her devil fruit powers to entertain Luffy and Chopper. Ami thinks that they're being fools for being won over so easily. Robin mentions that she happened to bring some of Crocodile's treasure with her, which easily sways Nami. Sanji was already preparing some food to serve up to Robin and never stood a chance. Luffy gets Usopp's attention as Robin uses her powers to emulate Chopper's antlers on Luffy's head, which cracks him up. There goes Usopp. Zoro tells Robin it's pretty much always like this, which causes her to laugh. As the Mary continues along its voyage, the sea seems calm, until a massive ship and debris suddenly falls from the sky. This causes violent waves and panic among the crew. As the waves settle, Nami notices the log post seems to be broken as it points up. Robin corrects her and says it's not broken, it's just locked onto an island in the sky.
Wowee. There's a lot to unpack in this chapter.
Yeah.
But at the beginning, we get an explanation for Luffy not dying of the poison.
Yep.
So we get to see the antidote. I know that was something we were like, how is this even possible?
It seemed like it didn't affect him, but
right.
Yeah, we get the actual reason why it seemed like it didn't affect him, because he actually was cured. Robin happened to have the antidote for him.
Yeah, I'm glad that that plot hole was filled because it was something that we had noticed in the last volume. Um, and definitely curious Robin's interest in the poneglyph because she kind of goes into it here. And being an archaeologist, I wonder like what in the world that she's looking for or what bit of information she's searching for. So
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
cool mystery.
Yeah. So
Maybe
one
she's
thing I
looking for
wanted
the
to
One
point
Piece.
out could be.
Could be the
Um,
One Piece.
yeah, one thing I wanted to point out: the manga uses the term "real poneglyph,"
Mm-hmm.
poneglyph, so REAL. But this might be a mistranslation. I've also seen it as Rio, like RIO. So I think they're
Interesting.
interchangeable. So either way, I think will work for the purposes of our explanation. I just want to point that out in case it ever comes up. They're the same thing.
Got it.
But you also did call it previously when you thought that Crocodile was being a little hasty by trying to finish off Nico Robin because she might not have been telling the truth about the poneglyph.
Yeah, that's right. She was withholding information.
Yeah, so you called that.
It was a smart move. Like being the only person that can read it. Like no one's gonna fact check that. So
yeah, yeah. Koa just happened to know the truth. He just kind of kept his mouth shut.
Yeah, Cobra also. Yeah, he faked his ignorance. But yeah, it was kind of cool getting those little pieces of the puzzle filled in at the beginning of this volume. And you also, I feel like, gain more trust for Robin having saved Luffy in this situation. So
right,
like, yeah, she's not a bad person.
which she's also saved Luffy in the past as well. She could have left
That's
Luffy
right.
to die in the sand. So she's always kind of been like in this weird state of like, is she good or is she bad? And she seems to have had like a soft spot for Luffy. Like I think she just like finds Luffy to be like entertaining and amusing in some way. Because like like when Crocodile was like very serious with like Luffy, like she was kind of laughing, and Croc's like, "What's so funny?"
Yeah. And even before that, like she was looking for him specifically, wasn't she? And that's when she mentioned his name, like having the D in his name.
She did mention it. She was curious about it, but then it seemed like he didn't really know anything, so she kind of like found out it was like a dead end. So she's like, "All right, well, he doesn't know anything. Obviously, he's not going to give me more details about that." But we do get some background for her as a character as well. So we already knew that she had a bounty when she was a kid, but she kind of went through like kind of how she like ended up with Brookworks. I think is kind of explained here. How she's kind of just been like trying to survive and been going from like crew to crew, just as like a means of survival. And with Brookworks, like it seems like it was an avenue for her to maybe find out more about this real poneglyph because she's looking like it seems like her intentions are mostly about knowledge. So she wants to find out like what the true history is. So it seems like there's more to the world as a whole than what's being let on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's pretty cool. Archaeologist. It's a new trait for the crew.
That's probably not
But
the
can
bingo
she
card.
play an instrument?
Well, she seems to be playing the crew like a fiddle. I'll give her that.
Oh, good one. Yeah, her winning over the crew is absolutely incredible.
I love how it's kind of like one by one they start to like fall into like being on Robin's side.
Amazing.
And we get another impersonation of Luffy trying to imitate Chopper, which she plays into.
So good.
Yeah, I think that's hilarious.
I was laughing too, so I get it. But yeah, that was really touching. Her just like winning everybody over, and I feel like she settled it in real quick.
Yeah.
And was like useful right away too. Like I don't know, like she brings a lot to the table. I think as far as being a crew member for the Straw Hats. So
yeah, I feel like she gives the impression that she has experience like in the world. So I think that could be very like helpful because she seems knowledgeable about the world as a whole, which you kind of see like a little bit here. Like, so we're gonna get in the next chapter more of a case where it feels like she has maybe more experience with like going around the Grand Line because she's been the Grand Line this whole time. Whereas like the rest of the crew had just gotten to the Grand Line. They're all experiencing the Grand Line for the first time.
Yeah, absolutely. She brings a lot.
Also, I think it's interesting to note as well. I feel like this is the first time where Luffy didn't find somebody to join the crew. Like he didn't seek out Robin. Like, hey, you're joining my crew. It's the other way around, where somebody else
Mm,
invited themselves to join the crew, and Luffy accepted.
that's a good point. He was pretty quick to accept. I thought it was really funny. Like after the initial reaction, how quickly he went from like freaking out to be like, "Yeah, you're cool. You can stay."
Well, I think Luffy's had more interactions with Robin.
Totally.
So, like like we talked about how Robin saved Luffy before, where the rest of the crew just has known her as being the vice president of Brokeworks, where Luffy's seen her firsthand experience of like being like actually helpful to him.
Right. This is a great reveal when Usopp is interviewing her. And he's like, "So, what's your specialty?" And she's like, "Assassination," with a heart.
Yeah, it's okay. She has a heart,
great.
so it's lighthearted. Lighthearted assassination.
She definitely brings like an experienced, like cool head to the group, which we don't have a lot of those. So
Yeah, I think Nami is probably the closest, but she also like actually Zoro too. Zoro will also keep a level head a lot of times, but like Nami is also she can jump from like 0 to 100 real fast.
Oh yeah, she's still like very emotional.
But I do think it's funny because as we see like each person being slayed by Nico Robin, like beforehand, like we saw like Nami was like you fools, like don't you know like she was Crocodile's partner, and then like immediately like she changed her tune. Oh sister, I love you. And Usopp's like, what a bunch of pushovers, and then like Luffy's like Usopp, and he's like, huh? And then he sees like the face that Luffy's making with the chopper horns, and he starts cracking up. Yeah, Zoro's the one that doesn't seem to like really be
I was gonna say
like
Zoro.
persuaded.
Yep.
But I feel like he doesn't really carry the way. He's probably gonna be like on guard, but he's probably like I can handle whatever happens, so he's not that worried.
Yeah. I also feel like he trusts Luffy's judgment.
Yeah, that's true.
You know, it seems like that. So he's like, if everyone else is on board.
Yeah, and then we get oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to talk about the amazing full page panel or the full page graphic that we get of the ship falling from the sky.
Yeah.
So good. There are a bunch of really good full page images in this volume on a whole. Like there's some really solid full page
for sure
imagery, and this is definitely one of them. Did not see that coming.
I don't think anybody did.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
And we get something a little different with the Otis technique here because he's been putting these little text box in. He says like anything man can imagine is a possibility in reality. And it's a quote from somebody presumably like within universe, Willie Karen. Or I've also seen a translation, Willie Garin or Willie Gallon. So I mean like there's a few different ways you could probably translate it, but yeah, so we have like these quotes, and we're gonna see a few of these throughout the volume. Where we have these little text boxes that give like a little information. So it's something a little different than we've seen in the past, I think.
And you're saying that's a quote from somebody in the One Piece universe?
Yes, I think this character is intended to be somebody within the world of One Piece.
Gotcha.
All right, so yeah, let's move on to the next part of the cover story because we'll also get more to talk about with like these events in the next full chapter. Okay. Hachi's walk on the Seafloor, volume 33. The Catfish Village is saved. Proposing with the last box. Oh, good. There's still one box of octopus fritters left after feeding the villagers, so he can propose to Octopaka with it.
Wow. She even looks skeptical in his thought bubble.
Yeah, poor Hachi. He's very optimistic about his
chances. He's really holding out for this one. Well, we'll see how that goes. But it does seem like he's made 2 friends along the way.
Yeah, that's good. All right, chapter 219, Masira, the Salvage King. The crew is excited about the prospect of a sky island, Luffy in particular. Though Nami thinks the log post must be broken. Robin asserts that if the log post is pointing in a direction, there will be an island there. Robin puts her archaeology skills to work as she analyzes the corpse from the fallen ship and determines that he died 200 years ago and is able to identify the ship, which set sail 208 years ago, according to the logs. As the ship begins to sink, so does their window of opportunity to find out more information from the ship. The Luffy managed to recover a map labeled Skypiea. They need to find out how to even get up to the Sky Island, so they put together some diving suits in order for Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji to go salvaging. As they go into water, another ship arrives, and they are very enthusiastic about salvaging. The ship is led by none other than Salvage King Masira. He claims that this is his territory and all ships that sink in this area belong to him. The Straw Hats try to distract Masira so he doesn't notice that they've already begun to try to salvage the sunken ship. But some of his crew come back up after being defeated. Luckily, Masira doesn't suspect that the other divers are with the Straw Hats. He gets ready to set up the cradle in order to pull the ship up. All right, so like we're just talking about, now Robin seems to have more experience on the Grand Line. So she seems to be a lot more confident that the log pose is working correctly. Whereas the assumption is, because it's pointing straight up in the sky, that it's malfunctioning.
Yeah, it's like you were just saying, like that Grand Line knowledge. And she also puts her archaeology skills to the test in this.
Yeah, it's like it's like a perfect opportunity. It's like time to show off like what Robin can do and why she's gonna be like an asset to the crew.
Perfect. Here's the 200 right corpse. Check it out. Yeah, that's very convenient.
But yeah, it's great because then she also kind of like works with Chopper here as well to kind of like get his opinions as well. So Chopper can kind of back up like Robin's findings, be like, yeah, like what she's saying is correct.
Chopper's still hiding backwards. We've seen it. We've seen it in all the chapters so far.
Yeah,
so good. Someone really needs to talk to him about that.
Yeah, I do think this is really interesting though, like a way to have Robin show like what her skills are and like why they're useful here. So immediately like they can determine that this ship is not something that just recently like came from somewhere. And the fact that this guy died 200 years ago, now the ship is like all of a sudden here, is like very odd. So right now there's like a mystery that we don't know exactly like what the answer is to this.
A Sky Island. I want to see that.
Yeah, that'd be exciting.
So does Luffy and Co.
Yeah, they're very excited about it.
I love the this salvage outfit they're given, just like the barrels, and Luffy gets 2 barrels.
Yeah, because he can't have the water against his the Devil Fruit ability.
Right. Oh, I thought that was hilarious.
But Luffy did find a map of Skypiea. So
yeah, it looks really cool. It almost looks like clouds instead of waves.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, we don't know exactly what's going on here. They also question the legitimacy of the map itself, because Nami says that yeah, it could be just like a fake map.
Right. Which horrified Usopp, Chopper, and Luffy. That's a great panel.
Yeah, she tries to like reassure them.
Like their souls all left their bodies. Like that was hilarious. And then we get introduced to Masira, who in proper like Oda fashion is like the character design and the matching ship.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, this is on brand. Yeah, what a ship.
Yeah, interesting character as well.
Absolutely.
So yeah, just to clarify, he's a human. He just looks like a gorilla. And it looks like he has a tail too. But yeah, so we don't actually know like what his deal is, but yeah, he's actually a human. So like not like a Devil Fruit user as far as we know.
Interesting.
But he seems to be like quite bashful, but like he seems like he wants like praise. He's very quick to like try to get like people to notice him, and like it looks like he's he thinks that they call him handsome. And like yeah, he's like, I'm speechless.
Yo, Yeah, it seems like a pretty funny character.
And he wants to show his stuff too. Like he's like very eager to kind of like show off like their salvaging skills here.
Mm-hmm.
So like when they kind of like the Straw Hats kind of show some interest in the salvaging operation, because it seems like they're trying to like use like the information to like, their benefit here, but he kind of doesn't really pick up on that. So he just thinks that they're just generally interested in like his operation, like how he does stuff.
Mm-hmm.
But like it's more like because like right now they have Luffy, Sanji, and Zoro like underneath, and they're trying to not get caught.
Yep. So funny. They're trying to play it cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty funny. I love that they have like a little 3 panels of Sanji, Zoro, and Luffy like in their underwater suits. Sanji's smoking inside of his suit.
That's like perfect.
It's so on brand. And like Zoro's like frustrated because there's an octopus on his on his tank.
Yeah.
And then Luffy is just like completely enamored by the fish in front of him. I thought that was solid.
He doesn't get the opportunity to like go underwater very often, so this is like a different experience for him.
Yeah, these are great though. I thought those 3 little panels like really captured the 3 of them really well.
Yeah. But I also found it hilarious here where like the guys from the crew got beat up, and then and then like instead of like Masira like suspecting the people right next to them, he like warns them, "Hey, watch out, there's some bad guys down there."
Yeah, he's like super kind. That's so funny.
Yeah, I don't think I have too much more to add here.
Same.
All right, let's move on. Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 34. Octopaco is drawn by the aroma of the sauce. Octopaco arrives in order to get what she wants, but it's not Hachi.
Zing.
You can see what she has on her mind.
Yep. She's no good, Hachi.
Yeah, he deserves respect. Okay, so let's move on from Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor to just chapter 220, A Walk on the Seafloor. Masira seems as though he's concerned about impressing the neighboring crew. Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji explore the wreckage and come across junk. Suddenly, the sunken ship is pierced by Masira's cradle. They engage the monkey prow, the Barco Grabber, which links up to the sunken ship. Masira blows into a tube which allows the cradle to fill the ship with air, causing it to rise, and the crew operates the ropes to pull it up. One of the underwater crew members shouts, telling Masira that there are other people in the wrecked ship. Upset, he gets ready to dive in to help, but pauses to give the Straw Hats a photo opportunity, just in case they wanted to take a picture. They didn't. As he dives in, he fights off a sea creature with a monkey punch. In the wreckage, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji relax as they now have air in the ship, but the moment doesn't last long as Masira smashes through the wall. Luffy sees Masira and says, "Hey, a monkey." Masira thinks he called him hunky and is flattered. They start to chat, but at the same time, a massive turtle eats the entire ship.
Oh man.
So we start to see more of this character trait for Masira.
He's so funny. He's a bit aloof.
No,
but kind-hearted.
Yeah, I love his like this is interaction with Luffy at the end here, because like he at first like he thinks that Luffy called him hunky, but like Monkey Clarify is like, oh, he says like not bad for a monkey, like so he's like so complimenting him. But then Luffy says like, no, he's like, you really do look like a monkey, and like to him like that's a compliment. He's like, oh, you really think so? You're flattering me, like. Yeah, so he changes tune real quick here.
Yeah, this is a cool chapter, like seeing the underwater wreckage and them kind of like walking through the ship underwater is very cool looking.
Yeah.
And we also see some of Masira's like physical techniques too, with like the inflating of the ship, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
And then he also punches out a giant fish.
Yeah.
More of an eel, I would say. It's like a giant eel. and then an even bigger sea creature comes along and eats them.
Yeah, so you never know what to expect on the Grand Line. Like, I think it could happen, really.
No. It's the classic, like, little fish getting eaten by the bigger fish.
Yeah.
I feel like we've seen that a lot, too.
Yeah.
And we'll see it again later on, I think.
Yeah, I do think this is like a fun way to show like the salvage operation. It's like a little different because we see like the design of like the cradle with like the hooks kind of like spinning into the ship, and then they use like the monkey prow to like dive down and it, like inflates like the air, and they can use that to like make the ship rise. So this is like a lot of like cool things that are happening with like the way they do the salvage.
Yeah, it's pretty neat. And it's definitely not their first time.
Nah, they have like a system down.
Got it down.
That's why he's a salvage king.
The moment when before he dives in, he strikes the pose, and he's like, "We're not taking pictures."
Like, okay, just in case, just throwing it out there. You sure?
So funny.
Yeah. And then when the cradle sinks into the ship, down below, like the Straw Hats are like, "What is this?" They're confused, but then they're like, Usopp and Nami have to like cover like the tubes because that's how they're like, communicating. They can hear from down below. They like, cover the tubes so that way they can't talk anymore. So I just thought it was pretty funny.
Yeah, I didn't even catch that.
Yeah. Yeah, he must be full of hot air too, because he has to like blow the air from his lungs to fill up the ship.
Yeah, that's impressive. That's a lot of air.
Yeah.
Seems like he does it in like one go too. Yeah, he's a fun character.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that about covers it though. Ready to move on?
Yeah.
Oh, actually, I think there's one more thing I wanted to point out. Oh yeah, so remember how I was talking about how like they were covering like the communication so they can't hear them anymore? Like like Zoro's saying that like I wonder who's trying to bring the ship up, and Sanji's only concern is I hope that Nami and Robin are okay. They haven't been responding to my calls.
Oh man.
Yeah,
that's right. Now Sanji has two people to be enamored with now.
Exactly. So before it was just Nami, now he has two.
Yep.
Okay, let's move on. Chapter 221, Monsters. Nami, Usopp, and Chopper are shocked that their fellow crewmates may have been devoured by the giant turtle, but they try to reassure themselves that it must be a dream. Robin is in less denial and wonders if they've been devoured. Suddenly, the hoses attached to their possibly eating crewmates go taut as the turtle starts pulling Mary towards it. Nami says they have to make the hard choice to cut the lines, but at that moment, the sky goes dark. Out of nowhere, Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji come falling back onto the ship worth their haul. They didn't seem to even notice the giant turtle. Masira's crew says that when the sky grows dark, it means the monsters are coming, so they need to get the boss back up. Determined to get the treasure the Straw Hats took from the Salvage, Masira resurfaces and lands on the Mary. They have bigger problems as everyone, including the giant turtle, becomes terrified as they notice the massive giants. Not looking to have Mary be destroyed, they make a quick getaway. They forgot about Masira, so they kick him off the ship. Okay, what are your thoughts on this one?
Do we know any of these giants? Have we met any of these giants before? No, this is another awesome full page image. The silhouette of the three giants.
Yeah, that's the cool
absolutely massive. Yeah, now that I look at it again, like they're way bigger than Bragi and Dory.
Yeah.
Like significantly bigger.
Yeah, and this giant turtle was already massive, but like these giants like put the turtle to shame.
Yeah, they're dwarfing that turtle. Yeah. And speaking of the turtle, I thought it was hilarious when everyone got out of the turtle and didn't even realize they were in the turtle at all. Like Luffy's like, "What turtle?"
Well, at least they didn't come back empty-handed. I love how Robin has like such like like a different take on like what's going on compared to like everybody else. Everybody else like panicking, freaking out. The crew might have just been eaten. And Rob's like, "Oh, that's too bad."
Yep.
Yeah, so she's like not afraid to like think the worst sometimes. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then Nami was pretty quick to have to cut the lines here. But she
Yeah,
was
that's
like
true.
Yeah, I like how when they blame Nami for sending them down there in the first place, she's like, "You're right. I'm sorry," and they're like, "No, that's like not good enough." like apologies, I can bring him back. And then
So
after
Nami
that
was
is
like
when she
putting other
decides to cut
people.
the lines. Yeah.
I thought it was funny when it all of a sudden becomes dark, and the way Odo like shows that is just by writing darkness on the panel, like, and just like the giant text in the blank space there.
Yeah.
Because it took me like a second. I'm like, what's going on?
Yeah.
But
You
then
can think
Chopper's
of
like,
light
it got
shading.
dark, and then you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah. This is like one of those things where it's like you can only convey so much in black and white. So like there's
Right.
like a shading over it. But it's kind of like when we talk about with the cherry blossoms, where it's like you can't really tell that the snow's turning
Right.
pink from black and white. But it's effective. But like the darkness just makes it very clear that like it's getting dark.
Right. Yeah, I thought that worked.
Yeah. But I really do enjoy these reactions.
Yes.
When they see the giants, like so like they weren't really phased by the turtle so much, but then like Luffy, Masira, and the turtle himself are like shocked by like the giants.
Yeah, it's funny. It was funny we got a reaction shot from the turtle.
Yeah.
And we get them again in the next page. The three of them also like reacting, yelling monsters.
Yeah, and they like book it out of there.
Yeah, that's actually a really cool page when they start booking it. I don't know. I just kind of like how Oda like laid that page out.
Yeah.
The merry-go just like hauling, and they're all just like head down, like working as hard as they possibly can to make the ship go as fast as possible.
All hands on deck.
It's kind of like an epic little page.
Yeah.
And they have this like fade in, fade out kind of thing. They realize that Masira is still on the ship.
Got another stowaway here.
Another stowaway. Yeah, it was a fun chapter. We didn't really get much on these giants, just that we just got silhouettes. That's all we got.
Yeah.
But definitely human-shaped people, or human-shaped things.
Yeah. The human-esque, yeah.
And they have like what look like kind of like wings, almost like angel wings kind of silhouette. Or
yeah.
really big shoulder pads maybe. But they look like wings.
Yeah, they do look like wings, and they have like looks like maybe like spears or something.
Yeah. Very interesting.
Yeah, so not too much there yet. All right, let's move on. Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 35. The Old Catfish Who Came Late. Turns out there was one more mouth to feed as the last catfish shows up.
Oh boy. Who's getting the last takoyaki?
Hachi's got a choice to make now.
Yeah.
I'm sure he'll make the right choice.
I'm sure. I have faith in him now.
All right, chapter 222, The Giant Novice. After settling down from all the excitement, Usopp reassures Chopper that he could have defeated 10 of the giant creatures. The others sort through their haul to see if they found anything useful, but Nami says none of this junk will help them get to Sky Island. As Nami gets frustrated to be surrounded by useless idiots, Robin hands over an eternal pose that she snatched from Masira as set for Jaya. Nami is relieved that she has at least someone she can rely on. Luffy orders to set sail for Jaya. Usopp points out that if they go to Jaya, won't that reset the log post to the Sky Island? Luffy cancels the order to head to Jaya. Nami says that they should go to Jaya to see if they can find someone who knows how to get to the Sky Island. The chorus for Jaya is back on. Robin also mentions that they should be able to go to Jaya and leave before the log pose resets. As the weather stabilizes, they realize that they must be approaching Jaya. Out of nowhere, birds began to fall from the sky. Chopper is able to ascertain that the birds were shot. Usopp says nobody would be able to shoot out this far, so they must have been shot somewhere else before flying over here. In actuality, someone was sniping the seagulls from the coast of Jaya. As Luffy is excited that they are coming upon Jaya, Nami and Usopp point out several pirate ships docked in broad daylight. Jaya is a town outside the reach of the world government where pirates like to gather and fight. Meanwhile, in Mocktown, the central hub of the pirates, a large champion grappler defeats a member of Roshio's crew. One of the bystanders warns him that he's messing with the wrong guy, as Roshio is dangerous. Elsewhere, Roshio himself is playing cards with another pirate. As Roshio laughs to collect his winnings, the other pirate stabs his hand, accusing him of cheating. Roshio denies it, and the rest of the onlookers say it looked like they were playing a fair game. But the other pirate insists he was cheating, as his subordinate Sarkis agrees with his captain. Roshio says the other guy must not know who he is, but Bellamy, the hyena, doesn't care as he smashes a bottle of alcohol on him. Sarkis tosses a match, letting Roshio on fire as he crashes through the window. Luffy and Zoro hop off the ship, unaware of what kind of town this is, as they say it seems like a fun place.
Seems like a fun place, said Zoro.
Yeah, so what do you think of the chapter?
I think that right off the bat, Robin shows her worth again, or just like proves how useful she can be with coming up with this log pose and kind of giving them an option. Or so, like they would have been in pretty deep water if they didn't have a log pose, because they would just be stuck out there with a log pose is pointing straight up.
Yeah,
I had no idea how to go straight up. So
yeah.
Yeah, that came in super useful. And then what was I going to say? Oh, the sharpshooter guy. I mean, it's impressive that he can shoot birds that are just so far away, but then he's saying like, he was like feeling bad for the birds and saying, well, that's fate. Like things are so vulgar. Like life is so cruel, but it's just this guy like sitting on a roof sniping these birds that he's not going to be able to like. He's just shooting them for fun, and then he's like, "Man, it's a cruel world out there." Like what?
Yeah, I think it's most because there's one that he wasn't able to kill instantly, so it had to suffer. He was like, "Oh well." He's like, "That happens sometimes."
I thought that was. I don't know. I think he's got some troubled morals.
Yeah, so it gives like a little taste of like what to expect for the town. It's gonna be full of like characters, and it seems like a rough and tumble kind of town.
Yeah, definitely rough and tumble. Lots of tumble. And this is another example of the Oda doing the like scrolly kind of text that like the quote. Or I think this one's like a reference.
Yeah.
But yeah, that does feel like kind of newer. Like I feel like we've seen it maybe like here and there, like sprinkled in, but it definitely seems more consistent in this volume than it has in previous volumes.
Yeah, and here they're kind of like setting the scene as well.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so like a town of Jaya's western shore, a place beyond the reach of government where lawless ruffians gather to fight in Karus. This is Mocktown, the town of derision. So yeah, we're getting like kind of little setup for like little things that are happening here and there.
Yeah, I think Oda does a good job of like quickly setting up this town and kind of giving you a vibe. I feel like he shows a few little battles to make this what's his name? Like Roshio like sound like this big mean guy, and then he's bested by this other guy who's like the new big mean guy. Like, I feel like they kind of just like keep like upping the ante and like bringing the stakes up little by little to kind of quickly set the stage and be like, this is one of like the top dogs in this town of pirates. So
yeah, for sure. And this is all before the Straw Hats even get here. So
right,
it's like we kind of get a little preview to what the Straw Hats are in for before they get to this town. So like they can see like the ships, like the pirate ships like at the shore. So they're like, that's weird. Like pirates just operating out in the open like this, and like the whole town's just covered in pirates. So
Yeah.
so it's kind of like anything goes here.
Yeah, should be fun. I don't see any issues coming up here.
Yeah, what'd you think of Bellamy here?
Bellamy's, yeah, he's an intense looking dude. The way that he and his buddy finished off Roshio's pretty gnarly.
Yeah, yeah, that was definitely like very like cold blooded and cruel.
Yeah, he looks very like bloodthirsty kind of guy.
Yeah, he's got a 55 million berry bounty on his head. So remember how I was talking about Luffy's bounty previously being reported as 30 million, and now it's gone up.
Yep.
So word hasn't really gotten out yet. So
yeah, we'll see that. Yeah, because even the Straw Hats don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. So it seems like a bunch of pirates just thinking that they're kind of like the top dog in town. So they all kind of like try and one up each other and kind of prove that they're the toughest. So yeah, some of these pirates are very confident in their abilities.
Yep.
Yeah. So to compare to Bellamy to Roshio has a 42 million berry bounty on his head. So like, we're kind of getting a sense like the bounties aren't necessarily going to be this pirate is stronger than this pirate. Like there's different ways somebody can get a bounty on their head. So again, we don't really know what the deal is with Nika Robin, but she had a bounty put on her head when she was 8, so we don't know exactly what she did. So it's just like something that can be kind of tricky where like it's easy to fall into this trap. Like this bounty being higher directly means like that this person's stronger. So it's not like power levels like in Dragon Ball Z. Right. Or it's like a direct correlation to like whoever's higher. So sometimes like people get caught up like in like kind of the power scaling of like the bounties. It seems like, you know, just something to be aware of, but this concept is going to come into play a little bit here. So I just want to make a note of that.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's like it's more their wanted level than their skill level.
Yeah. But that being said, typically if they have a higher bounty, that does typically mean that they are going to be more formidable.
Right. That checks out.
Yeah, we did see Crocodile was also quite formidable as well. He had a high bounty. So
do you remember how high? Like I think it was under 100,000 or 100 million?
Was it like 89 million?
Yeah, it was like I think it was under 100 million, but pretty high.
Yeah, so Crocodile's bounty was 81 million.
You're close.
Yeah, so that's pretty high.
It's a lot of berries.
Okay, how about we move on?
Oh, speaking of berries, do we see berries in this scene? Is that what those dollars are on the table?
Oh yeah.
I don't know. I feel like we haven't seen money very often, you know. But in this one, we do see it.
Yeah, we did see it. I think in Arlong Park. But I don't think we really saw too much detail. But yeah, these are berries.
Cool.
Yeah, these are paper money.
Looks fairly similar to like American money.
Pretty close. Okay.
Because there's also coins and stuff too, which we see a little later.
Yeah, I'm sure they have coins in the currency as well.
Yeah.
Okay. Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 36. Octopunch and the Smiling Elder. Octopaka was not happy with Hachi being denied the last of the octopus fritters in favor of the catfish elder. Well, there goes Hachi's chances at proposing to Octopako.
Well, yeah. The one that got away. No, Hachi dodged a bullet there.
Yeah, I think so. Maybe not physically, but yeah. He's
long run made the right choice. His pals are.
Kami's face over here.
Yeah, Kami's face. None of them have eyeballs. They all All of their eyes have rolled back into their heads.
Yeah. Or at least the catfish elder's enjoying his food.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What
so
is
I think
next?
he made the
Where
right
is the
choice.
story gonna go? What's gonna happen? Is this the end of Hachi's story?
Well, at least he died a hero.
Yep.
All right, chapter 223. I promise never to fight in this town. Knowing that Luffy and Zoro will undoubtedly find trouble, Nami decides that she'll have to chaperone them. Usopp and Chopper beg Sanji not to leave them, but notice Robin's also missing. Nami makes Luffy and Zoro promise not to fight while they're in Mocktown, so they don't get on the bad side of the wrong pirates. They come across a sickly man who has fallen off an equally sickly horse. They help the man back up on his horse, and he offers them some apples as thanks. Zoro declines because the apples look obviously suspicious, but Luffy didn't see anything wrong with them, as he starts to chomp down on one of them. Off in the distance, they hear some panic following an explosion after some people took some bites out of some apples. Nami frantically tries to get Luffy to spit the apple out, but he already ate some. But the man says he'll be fine. He was lucky, and it would have exploded by now if he had eaten a bad one. They notice someone claiming to be a grappling champion, which tempts Luffy and Zoro to challenge him, but Nami keeps them focused. After getting through all the commotion, they find a more peaceful seaside resort. The fidgety employee tells them that they can't be here and must leave right away, warning that there'll be big trouble if Bellamy finds them here. At this moment, Bellamy's first mate, Sarkis, shows up and demands the Straw Hats to leave. Luffy asks Nami if he can beat this guy up, but Nami says absolutely not. Sarkis finds this amusing that a small fry thinks that he can take him, so he throws them some money to them out of pity. Luffy doesn't recognize he's being insulted, but Nami does, so she has them leave. One of the other members of the Bellamy Pirates shows Sarkis Luffy's wanted poster, telling him that he has a bounty of 30 million berries. The Strats made their way back to a tavern in Mocktown to de-stress. Nami says that she is eager to get out of this town. The bartender tells him that their log pose will reset in 4 days. As Luffy and the stranger next to him chow down on some cherry pie, Luffy shouts out that the pie is so bad, while the stranger exclaims it's so good. They wash the pie down with a drink. Luffy says it's really good. The stranger says it's really bad. They begin to butt heads, so the stranger asks Luffy if he's a pirate and what his bounty is. Luffy tells him it's 30 million, but the man doesn't believe him. The bartender tries to calm them down as there's no fighting allowed in the tavern. This is when Bellamy enters the tavern looking for a pirate in a straw hat.
Wowee.
Yeah, a lot going on here.
Yeah, a bunch happens.
So a little chaotic, like in the best way. Where do you want to start on this one?
Well, Luffy makes a promise, which seems like a tall order in this town. And he really meets his match at the end with this man who is so like him. Like they're like mirror images of each other, which is really funny. And they just butt heads. But yeah, and then the guy comes in with the bounty, and it's like you were saying before, like no one knows that his bounty is actually 100 million and not 30 million.
Yeah.
And they're making a big deal about 30 million, which is hilarious. But yeah, Bellamy is back, who's a scary looking dude who really embodies the whole hyena thing with like the tongue out and like the crazed look in his eyes in like every single panel.
Yeah, makes sense where his name came from.
Yeah.
He seems to be kind of like the biggest fish in this pond that we've seen so far.
Yep.
So he's kind of strutting around like he owns the place. He's like taking up like the seaside resort. Like they kind of like established that as like their territory, and not like other people go over there. It seems like they kind of strong armed the employees to, kind of like keep people out.
Yeah, they seem to be like the main baddies here.
All right, so what do you think of this interaction with the old guy and the horse?
Yeah, I was like, what? Yeah, these like suspicious apples. It's so Luffy though to just grab one and immediately take a bite of it. I was like, I hope it's a devil fruit. Because that'd be on brand with how Luffy consumes devil fruit.
Won't be the first time, yeah.
But yeah, that was, I don't know. That was just so weird. Like I was like wondering if I was like trying to set something up later on, but it was just like this guy with some suspicious exploding apples that he offered.
Yeah, like I love this entire scene. So like there's like a bunch of people like noticing this guy fell off his horse and he's like coughing up blood, and then he's like on the ground. He's like, "Hey, pardon me, folks, can you help me up?" And Zoro's like, "Aren't you gonna try to do it yourself?" Like so like sympathetic to the situation. So like they help him up, and then he's like, "Much obliged. I made it. I was born with a weak constitution." All right, let's go strong heart. So the horse goes strong heart, and the horse collapses, and they're like, "The horse too."
Yeah. The horse too. That panel got me. That was hilarious.
So then as thanks, he offers like the basket of apples. So they helped him, and in exchange, he gives potentially dangerous apples that we see immediately like the payoff for having a bad apple and why like you shouldn't take these. Like somebody explodes like off to the like in the distance, and then Luffy's like eating it, and Nami's like choking him out to try to get him to spit it up.
Yeah, that's pretty off the wall, but hilarious.
Yeah, and then there's that it's like I think it's a very interesting exchange at the end here where he says like he points out like you're a lucky boy. So he's recognizing that Luffy has some kind of luck too, which we've seen a lot throughout the series at this point.
Yeah, we certainly have seen his streak of luck. It's been pretty serious.
But like Luffy shouldn't have to put his luck through this much like
right. A lot of it is he put himself in danger. Self-inflicted.
Yeah, so I just found that whole sequence to be very amusing. Yeah, and we get like the name for a big knife, Sarkis. He also has a bounty of 38 million berries. So pretty decent sized bounty from what we've seen so far.
That's right. Wonder what his big knife looks like.
He's also acting like a big shot here, like throwing money on the ground, like here, like I don't need it, like you guys take the money, like as like an insult, you know, just looking down on them, like being very snobbish about it. And like Luffy's just like, oh, free money.
Yeah, it definitely seems like a hot shot.
It's almost out of character for Nami
tattoo
to like turn down money here.
Yeah, that's true. Very true.
But even she has like some pride here. Oh, you're pointing out his tattoo.
Yeah, it's kind of like a smiley face with a cross through it.
Yeah, he's got the matching belt.
Yeah,
it's like he's committed to the brand here.
Quite a look.
Yeah, and then it's brought to their attention that Luffy's got the wanted poster, and like, oh, we can probably take the small fry.
Little do they know.
Yeah, and then we have this another scene when they go to the tavern, like we talked about it, where like Luffy and the stranger have like opposite reactions to the same things, but like you can see them like side by side. Like I love like the parallels.
Mm-hmm.
So we see the different reactions like next to each other, and then they kind of stare at each other like no, like you're wrong, like okay, and then they kind of like move on, and then they like have the panel side by side again showing the different reactions, and then like the way that they like kind of butt heads here, it's funny because then they also start trying to one up each other, asking for like the meat and like the cherry pies to go. So it's like a competition, so like it doesn't matter, it doesn't mean anything, but they're just trying not to get down by the person next to them.
Yeah, Luffy really met his mirror image here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're all impressed by 30 million. Like they're impressed by 30 million berries.
Yeah. Like this guy doesn't believe Luffy would have a bounty that high.
Yeah.
And like this bartender, like he packs up the meat and the cherry pies, like here you go, no problem. 50 cherry pies.
Yeah, right. I had that same thought. I'm like, damn, that was fast, and it's like in a tiny little bag. I'm like, wow.
You had 50 ready to go.
Little personal pies.
Now that's service.
Yeah, that's solid.
Better leave that guy a good tip. All right, and then we end the chapter where Bellamy is looking for Luffy, presumably.
Pirate and Straw Hat. Yeah, I think so.
Can only be one person. Okay, let's move on to Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 37, Hachi and the Sunset. Kami consoles Hachi after being rejected by Octopaco as they watch the sunset. So a nice little tender moment.
It's nice. Yeah, exactly. Made some friends.
Yeah. Okay. Chapter 224, Do Not Dream. Outside, a crowd gathers around the aftermath where Bellamy killed Roshio, saying it looked like as though somebody lobbed cannonballs into town. Nobody knows exactly what happened, but they suspect that Bellamy must have some kind of devil fruit. In the tavern, Bellamy notices Luffy and mentions his 30 million berry bounty. Bellamy approaches the bar and orders the bartender to serve Luffy the most expensive drink he has. Sarkis and the other members of Bellamy's crew arrive, pushing others away to make room for themselves. As Luffy goes to take a sip of his drink, Bellamy smashes his face through the bar. Bellamy's crew laughs, but Zoro prepares his sword as he holds it to Bellamy's throat. Nami reminds Zoro that they can't fight, as they still need to find information about the Sky Island. As Luffy gets ready to fight back, Nami desperately shouts out to see if anyone here knows about the Sky Island. The tavern falls silent before erupting into laughter. They mock her for thinking Sky Island is real just because the log post was pointing up. They can tell they probably never heard of the knock-up stream, which launches ships into the air and come crashing back down, so people mistakenly thought there must be an island in the sky. Bellamy tells him that he was going to ask him to join his crew, but they're too gullible. He shouts that the Age of Dreams is over. El Dorado, the Emerald City, the One Piece, all myths fools die chasing after. Thinking of fools like this gets Bellamy angry as he smashes a bottle over Luffy. Now, with the entire bar against them, Nami urges Luffy and Zoro to fight back. Luffy orders Zoro not to fight. So, yeah, things get pretty tense in this chapter.
Yeah. You really see Bellamy and what's the other guy's name?
Sarkis?
Sarkis. Yeah, pretty scummy dudes.
Yeah.
They definitely feel like they own this town.
Yeah, for sure.
And then Bellamy kind of like tricking Luffy into thinking they were friends and then smashing his head through the bar, which that panel is pretty sick. The like impact of that was really well drawn. And I love how Zoro like counters and is like sitting on top of the bar top with his sword drawn.
Yeah, that's a cool panel of Zoro.
Yeah.
Yeah, Zoro kind of keeping a level head here too. Like we just talked about how Zoro keeps like a cool head.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, it makes even like a simple bar fight look really epic.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I thought when the entire bar erupts into laughter, that's another great full page image there.
Yeah, like a dude like in the air.
In the air, like upside down. There's like a table and chair all in the air. That's pretty hilarious.
Yeah, so what do you think of their reaction to them like having like this kind of like dreamer mentality?
I mean, it goes so strongly against like Luffy. I feel like Luffy takes that incredibly personally because he is a dream chaser. I feel like they're all chasing their dreams, you know. And so for the entire town to kind of be like, you know, dreams are immature and they're not real, and you know, they're trying to like discourage all of these dreams and all of these aspirations. So I feel like I feel like it strikes a chord with all three of them, with Luffy, Zoro, and Nami.
Yeah, like I said, they each like everyone in the crew has their own personal dream as well. So yeah, this is like an insult to them and kind of like everything they stand for.
Yeah, they don't take dreams lightly, you know, and this whole town does.
Yeah. What do you think of Bellamy saying like the One Piece is a myth?
Mm. Yeah, I noticed he threw that in there. What else was it? It was like the One Piece,
Is El Dorado,
Sky Island.
the Emerald City,
Mm.
One Piece? Yeah, you can throw in the Sky Island in there too. But yeah, like all these things that like people like say like it exists, and Bellamy is like no, like you have to be a fool to think that. So
Yeah,
I think it's like the first time we've been introduced to the possibility that the One Piece might not be real.
that's true. Yeah.
So we have somebody here stating definitively that they think the One Piece is just a hoax. And yeah, so up to this point, I feel like this concept hasn't really been mentioned. So now we see like
Mm.
different types of pirate philosophies with that as well.
Right. And is Luffy's goal to find the One Piece? I feel like that sounds like a silly question, but like I know he wants to be king of the pirates, but that doesn't necessarily mean he's searching for the One Piece, right? Because the One Piece is the treasure left behind.
Yeah, well, getting the One Piece would be that status symbol to prove that you are the king of the
Gotcha.
pirates. Yeah,
Okay.
so um, the goal of obtaining the One Piece has become it's kind of launched the pirate era for after Gold Roger's passing. Um, that launched a whole bunch of people to want to go out and seek the One Piece and inspire them to do this. So a lot of the reason for the journey for a lot of these pirates is to go find the One Piece. Not all of them, which we see here. Um, but
But
like
it's like the
Luffy's
ultimate
more
treasure,
yeah. So if you
and they're
can get the One
pirates.
Piece, yeah. If you get the One Piece, then you would be considered to be the king of the pirates. That's like
Got it.
in order to get there, you kind of have to have that status. And I feel really bad for Nami here because the way like they laugh at her. So she
Yeah.
takes it like very personally and she's like embarrassed. And she starts to feel like a little foolish for even mentioning it to them. And then
Mhm.
like when she tries to like ask about them, what about the log pose? They say it's broken. Like they pause and they start laughing at her again.
Right.
Um, so yeah, I feel really bad for her in this case, and she takes it very personally.
Yeah. Same. That can't be easy. Because yeah, I mean, the entire bar was in unison and going pretty gung ho in their opinions.
Yeah,
Very loud, a very uh, emoting crowd. But yeah, because those are two things that Nami really believed in too. Being
yeah,
a navigator, like she's gonna take that personally when you laugh at her about not knowing how a log pose works.
right. Yeah, that's a good point.
And
Yeah,
then
so
Luffy at the end saying not to fight them. I feel like that. Um, I mean, we'll see how that turns out, but like, yeah, Luffy's so like resolute in his decisions. I feel like, and this is like another example of that. Him just being he's made up his mind. He's like, we're not fighting in this situation. He's respecting Luffy's or Nami's wishes from earlier.
even though Nami
And like,
herself here is going back on that, saying, I
yeah,
take it back. You can fight, like defend yourself." But then Luffy, like you said, he sticks with his guns. Like, no, we're not fighting.
yeah, which is really respectable from Luffy because like, Nami made that decision when her mind was clear, saying like, "Don't let your emotions get the better of you. Don't get into a fight."
Yeah,
And Luffy took that to heart. And then when they do get into a fight, and Nami is emotionally um, hurt from what was happening, and wants the fight to happen in that moment, like she's the one that's like letting her emotions get the better of her here, and
yeah,
Luffy respects her earlier wishes in that moment, which shows a lot of resolve and um, discipline from Luffy.
yeah. Yeah, it's definitely the reverse because Luffy was ready to throw down. Like he wanted to fight everybody that they came across, and then at first he was ready to fight Bellamy, and then they started like laughing about their dreams. Like something seems to have like shifted in Luffy where he's like he's not gonna fight back here.
Yeah,
So he's now decided that like they're just gonna take it.
yeah, I feel like it's almost because like he sees that it would turn into a big deal because like these are the top dogs in the island, so like starting a bar fight to the death here would rile things up and push them farther away from their goal, of like finding out the information they need and moving on. Like they don't want to get tangled up in something here.
Yeah. All right, ready to move on?
Yep.
Okay, Hachi's Walk on the Seafloor, Volume 38. Sunset Dreaming, remembering a childhood dream to have an octopus fritter cart. Hachi smiles as he thinks back to wanting to have his own octopus fritter cart since he was a kid. Yeah, so it seems like it's been a lifelong dream of his.
Love that. I wish you all the best, Hachi. I hope it works out. Are we getting more of this story? Like, where are they
Yeah.
going to take it next?
Yeah, they'll usually say when it's the final chapter.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not that I want it to end. I'm just curious. I feel like we've kind of hit the climax of this story.
Probably getting towards the end.
Yeah.
But it looks like in this memory, I think this might be QB here.
Oh, on the right there?
Yeah, from Arlong's crew.
Yeah. Could be.
But I don't think the first person looks like somebody we've seen before.
Mm. Yeah, I think you're right. I didn't catch that before.
All right, let's move on. Chapter 225, People's Dreams. As the crowd mocks Luffy and Zoro while Bellamy and his crew continue to beat them up, Nami pleads for them to go back on their promise and fight back. They refuse as Bellamy's crew throws them around and spit alcohol on them. So Keith offers to do Nami a favor and buy her, but she makes it clear that she's not interested. Bellamy is bored of them now and tells Nami to take her friends and leave. Outside the tavern, the stranger they met earlier is enjoying some cherry pies, as he tells them that the Sky Island does exist. He tells Nami not to be upset, her friends won that fight. He also commends her for her guts. He says the pirates in the tavern are wrong. The age of pirate dreams isn't over. He declares that people's dreams don't ever end. He encourages Luffy to keep aiming for the top, saying let them laugh and that fighting doesn't always show your might. He wishes them luck in finding Sky Island as Luffy says it's time to go. Nami thinks that maybe they can get information from him about Sky Island, but Luffy and Zoro point out that he's not alone. Over on the Merry, as Usopp and Chopper work on fixing the ship, they get worried as they hear the familiar Salvage song coming from an approaching ship. Yeah, so Luffy sticks to his guns here and basically just takes over Bellamy's crew is throwing at him. And same with Zoro.
Yeah. Impressive control for both of them.
Yeah. Does Luffy's reaction here remind you of somebody else?
Not off the top of my head.
I was getting Shanks vibes from Luffy this chapter, where we saw like in the first chapter when Shanks got the alcohol thrown on him by Haguma. Shanks was just like no big deal,
and choosing not to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then Luffy got mad at him for not fighting back. He's like, "You're a weakling for not fighting." So now Luffy's kind of in that same position that Shanks was in, and he chooses not to fight. And he shows his strength by not fighting back.
Yeah, that's a great correlation.
And then the stranger kind of notices that as well. So he actually considers Luffy and Zoro to be the victors of this fight. By not fighting back, he shows that he said like that they're showing that they were like the stronger ones.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a great point. I didn't think of that callback. But yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. So I feel like that's a direct influence from Shanks as to Luffy's like personality and his mentality as a pirate.
Totally.
So we see that I think coming to fruition here.
That's awesome. Yeah, like when you put it that way, like the events really are so similar. It really is like a mirror image of that.
Yeah.
Which is all the way back in the first volume?
Yeah, first chapter.
Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And here we are, chapter 225. Very cool. Yeah, I mean it was heroic of them not to fight in this situation, and I love that like Nami kind of gets the last word in here, and I love that she calls them third-rate bullies and not third-rate pirates. Like she doesn't even call them pirates,
right?
Which I loved. I thought that was a solid thing.
Yeah, and this guy out here also like the Nami's come back too.
Yep.
Like it is comeback. Yeah, so they're getting a little bit more respect from this guy. We don't know who this guy is, but he he seems to also respect the same type of dreams that Luffy has. So he encouraged them to keep chasing the dreams, and that the other pirates are wrong for thinking that dreams like don't matter. And that the age of the pirates' dreams are over. So like the age of like the One Piece is still very much alive in like his mind.
Yeah. Again, another full page, just amazing shot when the stranger says people's dreams don't ever end.
Yeah, that's a great
so good.
great page.
Yeah, I love how they just highlight just the characters in this scene.
Yeah,
yeah,
like
it's very
really drives
very visually striking. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I'm glad we got a little bit more payoff with this character because it's like the parallels between him and Luffy are just so evident, and like clearly what he says really resonates with Luffy in this situation.
Yeah,
you know, especially afterwards, like Luffy lingers for a long time.
He's kind of processing what he's saying here.
Yeah, I think it's kind of like sinking in.
Yeah, and this guy like doesn't really seem to care about like what people think of him. He just kind of set up in the middle of the street and started like screaming this stuff.
Yeah,
people like, what are you shouting about? What's that about people's dreams? Like something wrong with your head?
Looks like you put a real dent in those pies too. Look at that bag.
Yeah, it went from like
the bag is holding is pretty tiny now.
50 pies to like 5 pies.
Yeah. How did you interpret it's not just one guy?
That's actually something I wanted to mention here as well, because I think this is like an interesting point. Yeah, because Nami thinks that they can maybe get information out of him. Maybe he knows how to get to Skypiea. I wonder who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And then Luffy says, well, it's not just one guy. And Nami's confused by this, and so it's like there's more than one. So it seems like he's not alone. So it seems like Zoro and Luffy kind of clocked that there are other people actually with him that aren't really apparent from what we see here. So like, we don't actually see like any of these people that we know as being like, you know, partnered with this guy maybe.
Yeah.
But Zoro and Luffy kind of picks up on something here that seemed maybe like a miss.
They're getting a sense that he's like part of a crew.
I kind of think that's what they're sensing here.
Hey, I didn't quite know how to interpret that. Like I read through it, like I reread it because I was like, wait, that didn't make sense to me.
Yeah,
but I think I kind of landed in the same place, but it was a little confusing.
Yeah, I'll say that's the implication, but it's not spelled out 100% here.
Yeah.
So it's funny because I'm noticing here after when they part ways, the stranger guy is now saying, haha, this grog tastes awful good today. So he kind of changed what he was saying before, how he was saying the drink tastes bad. So now he's saying it tastes good. It looks like he has a different bottle though.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah, we kind of end the chapter here where Usopp and Chopper doing maintenance on the ship. And there's a ship out in the ocean singing Salvage. So sounds like they're
so we know
running into the Salvage crew isn't over yet. All right, you ready to wrap up the volume?
Let's do it.
Chapter 226, Shoujou, the Salvage King of the Seafloor. Usopp, Sanji, and Chopper are shocked to see Luffy and Zoro beat up as they return to the ship. As Chopper treats their wounds, Luffy says not to worry, as it's all over, but Nami is still resentful that they did nothing to defend themselves. Chopper asks if they found out anything about Skypiea, but clearly touched nerve as Nami is upset that everyone started laughing at them when she mentioned it. Robin returns with some new clothes, along with a possible lead on how to get to Skypiea. She shows them the map of Jaya, pointing out that a weirdo named Mont Blanc Cricket lives on the other side of the island, who was chased out of town for talking about dreams. The Mary sets sail to head toward the other part of the island. Out at sea, the approaching salvage ship uses sonar to search their surrounding area. They pick up a nearby ship, which happens to be the Mary. As Luffy tries to figure out what's going on, the captain of the other ship shouts out to him. The captain is none other than Shoujou, Salvage King of the Seafloor. Luffy points out he looks pretty smart, but can't tell that he's human, as he looks like an orangutan. Shoujou asks if they heard the news about Crocodile's defeat, so he aims to be the next replacement for the 7 warlords of the sea. He also asks if Luffy is amazed that he hasn't cut his hair in 25 years, but Luffy upsets him by saying that's stupid. Luffy tells him to move, but Shoujou says it's his territory, so they have to pay him a toll. Usopp mentions that Masira was talking about his territory too. Shoujou overhears as this name got his attention. Luffy tells him that they beat him up. This infuriates Shoujou. Luffy tries to clarify Masira is still alive, but it's too late. Shoujou shouts into his mic using his Soundwave Havoc sonar. Shoujou's ship starts tearing apart, which doesn't concern the Straw Hats at first until the Mary starts to become affected as well. They reverse course to get the Mary out of danger. Back in Mocktown, the patrons talk about how a pretty woman was asking about Cricket earlier. They figured she must be after the gold bullion that was recently discovered. This gets Bellamy's attention. He asks where he can find Cricket. All right, so we're introduced to another Salvage King who happens to be the brother of Masira. But they both look like ape-like.
Singing orangutan. Like,
yeah, this guy seems less flattered by the monkey compliments, saying he looks like a monkey.
True. Interesting power there, though.
Yeah.
Like sonar, singing.
It's pretty devastating. Yeah, it starts like not only tear apart his own ship, but also starts to hit the Mary as well.
Yeah. He might have a case for Warlord, but we'll have to see more. We'll have to see more.
I'm sure he's on the list of candidates.
What about his brother? Are they like a package deal, or would it just be one of them, or
together they make the 7th Warlord?
Yep.
Yeah, so we get a little indication as to like a potential lead to find out more about Skypiea. So
yeah.
Robin had disappeared earlier, so it wasn't clear if she like just disappeared and was like, all right, peace out, like I'm doing something to betray you guys, or like I'm actually leaving the crew, even though she said she had like nowhere to go before. So like we don't know what Robin's like intentions were, if she could be trusted, but she does come back. So she was actually doing something to try to help the crew, and she was like finding her own information. So she was a little bit more successful than like the other members of the crew.
Yeah, Robin coming up clutch again. But now that like having read the whole chapter now, or the whole volume, like Robin has been incredibly useful. Been an incredibly useful person on the crew. And you got to wonder if she's genuinely interested in being in the crew, or just has her own goals and is kind of using them to help her obtain her goals. Like she was with Crocodile. He was helping her obtain her goals there as well.
That's a good point.
I'm sure that's got to be part of it, because like she is very goal oriented, and we know that she's very motivated to research the poneglyphs and who knows what else. But yeah, she's been moving them right along. Yeah, that's true.
So she'll do what she needs to survive, which she's already mentioned before, that she's been like kind of going from like ship to ship, not really like settling in anywhere. So that kind of indicates like how Robin's been operating in the past.
Right.
But hopefully this lead pans out.
So
yeah.
Oh my gosh, I love how sorry to jump topics, but
yeah,
I love how Chopper is using his power-ups to avoid Nami in this chapter. He uses guard boost and jump boost in order to avoid Nami's screaming.
Which means that he had to have used a rumble ball.
Yep.
So he was that
he was so scared.
A rumble ball.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then Usopp used his ketchup star, which kind of defeats the purpose, because like he announced that he just used a ketchup star. He kind of faked his own death because he's like showing that he's like bleeding with the ketchup. Yes. But he's kind of playing dead. But
he's gonna have to practice that one.
Yeah, Nami did take what happened in Mocktown very personally here, because she's offended that, and then she got laughed at and she was embarrassed. and just a mention of Skypiea kind of like triggered her here.
Yeah.
Where she like started talking about, like, who cares about that Skypiea. Everyone started laughing at the mere mention of it. I didn't say anything funny. Like, why are they laughing? So she doesn't understand like what was like funny about what she asked for. Like, it was a legitimate question. She's trying to find out about this. So yeah, she doesn't seem as ready to let things go as like Luffy and Zoro, who kind of just like didn't let it phase them.
Yeah. That look she gives when she says Skypiea to Chopper when Chopper brings it up, like that first look that she gives him,
Yeah,
is so good. It's like
yeah.
overshadowed and like very sinister face.
Even the lettering was like
So
uneven.
good. Yep. So good.
Why'd you say that name?
Got some interesting characters in this volume.
Oh, also I love when they first get back, and they see that Luffy and Zoro are beat up. Sanji says, "Nami, are you all right, Nami?" When she's clearly the only one who's fine and hasn't been scathed.
Oh man, Sanji is so predictable.
Yeah, like these are the times for me, like when this like really works for like how Sanji like she seems to just not care about the rest of the crew members. Like that's like when I feel like these jokes like really land me the best. And like he's done it like twice at least in this volume, and yeah, it got me both times.
Yeah.
Also, we don't know much about this Mont Blanc cricket so far, but it sounds like he experienced something similar where he got chased out of town for having dreams. So we can see Mocktown probably gets their name from this, where they seem to not take kindly to people who express that they have dreams.
That's true. I didn't even think of that as I didn't make that connection with Mocktown.
I mean, I don't know if that's like actually the reason. It could be like Oda's reason, but like in universe, it might not be the actual reason.
Yeah.
But it could be a good reason as any.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where the Mocktown arc goes.
Yeah, and then towards the end here, we get the other brother, Shoujou. He's an interesting character as well. I do think it was hilarious. Like how like just unimpressed Luffy was with this guy. Like, it seemed like he got along with Masira pretty well until they kicked him off the ship. But these guys start butting heads like immediately. Like Luffy's just not clicking with him. So just contrasting to his interaction with Masira earlier.
Yeah, he really hit it off with Masura. I think Nami was like, was it Nami that said, naturally they're both monkeys?
Yeah, like he seems to like get pretty serious over here. He's like, now listen, if you pass through the tunnel of my anger, you'll come to a sea of blood. So he's pretty serious
Painting
here.
a picture, yeah.
And then Luffy's like, whatever, we're trying to get somewhere. Move. Yeah, so it seems like the Strats have like no choice but to turn back. They can't get past Shoujou here.
Yeah, the Merry-Go is definitely a smaller ship, it seems, when it comes to pirate ships, because they've been outsized pretty much every time they confront anyone.
Yeah.
But they got a small crew, so
It's true.
Rich for them for now.
Yeah, and we just kind of end out the volume where Bellamy is also intrigued by this cricket, but he wants to get this gold bullion. Mm-hmm. So he's got his eyes on this treasure.
His crazy eyes.
Yeah. So it seems like he's trying to go to the same place that the Straw Hats are trying to get to now.
It's gonna lead to trouble, if I had to guess.
Yeah, so any other thoughts on the chapter or the volume as a whole?
On a whole, I thought it was really fun. Like you said, it's nice getting like that chapter and a half of wrap up for the Alabasta arc, and then yeah, I thought it was just like a really fun, kind of wacky. We got some really crazy character introductions. We got our two like monkey men salvage crew, and then we got the two pirates who are both just like pretty cutthroat, nasty pirates. So Yeah, I'm excited to see where they go with it.
Yeah, agreed.
And also this volume, like I don't know, I feel like more so than any volume that we've had so far, had just like a ton of full page um, images, both inside of both like within the story and also just a few just kind of like fan art, like fun um, like cover pages.
Yeah, these are typically referred to as like color pages.
Yeah, cover page.
Well, because like when they were in Show and Jump, they were actually in color. So
Oh,
like
cool.
might be like a color spread or like color pages.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So just like an FYI, I think that's typically how they're referred to, and they actually have collections of these pages in color. So they have what they call color
Whoa.
walks. So I'm gonna say not to look up anything yet until we get
Yeah,
maybe
fair.
further in. But yeah, they do have collected books that you can get of these called the color walks.
That is cool.
So
that is very cool. I'm definitely interested in that. But yeah, I thought that I noticed like a lot of those, like there were more of those in this book than normal because I feel like we get one maybe every couple volumes, but this one had a couple in this single volume.
well,
Cool.
sometimes they get thrown in between like the cover stories and stuff.
Yeah, but I mean, even in this one, like I feel like we haven't gotten multiple in one volume before, so that was cool. And just like within the content itself, there was some like really great full page stuff. So I appreciated that.
Yeah.
And also another topic I wanted to bring up was Panda Man, of course,
Did you spot him?
because so no, I feel like I never spot him in the moment, but then Oda had a lot of little panels specifically highlighting Panda Man. Like I feel like we've been seeing Panda Man highlighted more so. Like I'm just curious when and if we're ever gonna get more story, like more backstory of Panda Man.
Like who he is.
I want a formal introduction.
I do think we'll get like occasional SBS questions about him.
Yes,
So
we've definitely
there
had
are.
those.
Yeah, so I think there's gonna be like a few here and there. Like honestly, we don't find out too much about Panda Man, but we get a little bit more.
Cool.
But yeah,
Well,
I
he
mean,
keeps alluding to him.
I keep like missing them. Like I even tried to go back because when I saw the page that showed where Panda Man was in this one chapter, like I couldn't
Yeah.
even find where it was. So even like showing me where Panda Man was supposed to be, like in the page, I still couldn't find the page that it was actually referring to. So, so I kind of gave up.
He's like the Where's Waldo of the Otis series.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'm not 100% sure where he even was this time. Because like they'll zoom in too, so it's like he might be like really small like on the page, but like when they zoom in, like it's like, oh, he looks like he'd be easy to find, but he's like
Right.
really small on the actual page, so it's like not actually easy to find.
Yeah, but we got a couple of those. I feel like he's drawing more and more attention to Panda Man, so I'm growing more and more curious.
Yeah, we've been missing some, so just full disclosure.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. But yeah, overall though, I really enjoyed this volume. I like the wrap up to Alabasta. I love getting Robin to join the crew finally. Now I can say that. Yeah, I think Robin's a welcome addition to the crew.
Agreed.
Yeah, and I like where the story is going. I like the setup. I like Jai introducing these different like wacky characters and different types of pirates. I like the concepts that have been introduced in this volume. And that sets up a lot of cool stuff for like the series as a whole. So I think there's some really really good stuff in this arc.
Yeah, I can't wait for more.
Yeah, and just last thing to mention, I don't want to go into too much detail, but they did have the next popularity poll.
Oh yes, saw
So
that.
it's the second one that they've had. So
Right.
luckily, Luffy was still voted as number one, but Zoro was pretty close. So Luffy had 11,136 votes to Zoro's 10,982.
Yeah, that's pretty close.
Yeah. And Sanji was number 3, so he's a little further back. But he's still pretty close. And then we have Chopper, then Nami for the top 5.
Would those be your top 3 as well in that order?
For me personally?
For you personally?
No. Maybe at one point, but as of today, I would say that's not still true. So
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah. How about you?
Yeah, because you're all caught up, so you've gotten all of these characters to present.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think Zoro's kind of always been my favorite.
Yeah.
Not that I don't love Luffy, but Luffy is kind of like, I don't want to say the obvious answer, but he is the main protagonist. I think Zoro would be my favorite. I think Zoro's my favorite character.
That's fair. Yeah, I would say to this day Luffy is still my favorite character. But that doesn't mean like I don't love other characters as well. Like there's some like very like close contenders, but Luffy I think just as a whole is still my favorite character after all these years. So all right, but yeah, I didn't want to go into too much detail on the poll, but I just wanted to at least mention it since it's here. All right, well that will conclude this week's episode of the We Are Reading One Piece podcast. You can find this episode wherever podcasts are found at wearereadingonepiece.buzzsprout.com or on our YouTube channel at We Are Reading One Piece. This is a spoiler-free channel up to where we record the podcast, so if you're new to the series, you can visit the channel there. You can also find me and this podcast on my YouTube channel at Pirate King Codex for various One Piece content. Next episode, we'll be discussing Volume 25, the 100 Million Berry Man. I've been Joel, and I've been joined by Evan.
Thanks for listening.
All right. Thanks for coming aboard. Be sure to bring along all of your hopes and dreams, and we'll see you on the next episode.